Well, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, that's APGA, faction led by Edozie Njoku, has another presidential candidate. He's Chekwas Okorie, who has gone ahead to inaugurate his campaign organization for the February 25th polls, despite not being recognized yet by INEC. Okorie has unveiled Hadiza Mohammed as his choice of running mate and Jonathan Elendu as the Director General of his campaign. But the action has continued to generate reactions from the INEC-recognized APGA presidential candidate, who is Professor Peter Omeadi. He told Arise News when contacted that he was surprised by Okorie's actions. He also says Okorie has a pending court case against APGA and himself, where he's seeking a judgment to compel INEC to recognize Okorie as presidential candidate. Well, he's urging Okorie to await the outcome of that suit before embarking on what he calls self-help.
It is now abundantly clear to all discerning Nigerians and Independent National Electoral Commission that APGA has only one national chairman, and that national chairman is Chief Edozie Njoku. In the same token, APGA has only one presidential candidate, and that presidential candidate is Chief Dr. Chekwas Okorie, who is in Nigeria.
With all humility, with all sense of responsibility, as a daughter, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother, I accept the honor of being the vice presidential candidate.
With every sense of responsibility and humility, I accept my appointment as the Director General of Chekwas Okorie.
I think I like that fact of
a female running mate.
Absolutely.
It's like the only one we've seen so far among the 18 political parties. Although we have a female presidential candidate.
Yeah, but
nobody has seen her.
Running mate,
Yeah, but a female running mate, yes.
Great. So, you got this one now.
Well, the factional APGA presidential candidate, Chekwas Okorie, joins us now for more on this development. Thank you so much for coming on Newsnight. And we do commend you for having that running mate as a female, although I'm not sure if congratulations can be in order, given the legal tussle. It's very difficult to grasp. There's so many cases. But let me ask you, I mean, where is this confidence coming from? I'm checking the INEC portal, and you have different names as presidential candidate and running mate, and it's not you. It's from the other faction, which is INEC recognized. So where's this confidence coming from that you're setting up a presidential campaign council 24 days to the elections?
Well, first, let me start by saying that it's honestly very uncharitable for Arise News, in my very presence, to refer to me as belonging to a faction. There's no faction in APGA.
Isn't that false?
Sorry, Chekwas. Let's draw your attention to the different litigations that resulted in this. And you heard my colleague saying on the INEC website, your name isn't there as a presidential candidate.
I'm
so is that the fault
that.
of is that the fault of Arise News?
It is.
No,
yeah,
I don't think you should start from that premise.
No,
Situate the point.
No, I need to start from there because I feel uncomfortable sitting here and listening to you say this, because INEC has no power, no right under the law to disobey the Supreme Court judgment. Okay. It has no such power. And you don't sit here and begin to ascribe to INEC the power to truncate the 2023 election. Not allowing the APGA recognized severally by the Supreme Court to participate in the election amounts to exclusion. I thought the media should be more concerned about the consequences of exclusion instead of talking to me about what INEC has not done.
But there's a foundation to all of this.
What is the foundation?
Before an exclusion...
Have we even gotten to the issue of exclusion yet?
That is what it is.
Has the entire position been exhausted? Can you, for example, be going to the court and seek a judicial interpretation right now before the election that you've been excluded?
I am not in the court seeking for any judicial. I heard you say Peter Umadi say I was in court. I am not in any court in Nigeria seeking for anything.
Please.
Who is Peter Umadi?
Peter Umadi is a professor, a retired chief judge of...
Is he a member of your party?
Yes, he's a member of APGA.
And what is his position in APGA?
The position is that he's a member of the party.
Just a member?
Yes.
But on INEC website, it stated clearly.
Maybe you want me to repeat that.
You don't need to repeat, because we know the history of these cases.
I don't think you do.
You have...
Because if you know the history of these cases, you would have known that the Supreme Court of Nigeria has taken a position. And that matter is ended. Okay. There is no court above the Supreme Court.
Kindly expatiate on it.
That's very good. That is the way you should come about it, so that your viewers will understand.
Go on.
On the 9th of May, 2002, the Supreme Court issued a corrected judgment in which it realized that there was an error of tongue, the slip of tongue and pen, where Chief Edozie Njoku's name was supposed to be mentioned as the national chairman of the party. That of Chief Oye was erroneously inserted, and so the Supreme Court corrected it. It was a grief side that went to police, went on propaganda, calling Edozie Njoku name, saying that he forged the Supreme Court judgment.
He was even detained.
If he forged the Supreme Court judgment, indeed, nobody will forge Supreme Court judgment and be walking the street today. You know, you can't try it. Nobody can. About detention, everybody knows the way our laws operate. The police, who reported to the police, did the Supreme Court report to the police? Did even INEC report to the police? It was the same man whose name was expunged that reported to the police. Only police can explain why they did not go to the Supreme Court to verify if their judgment was forged. INEC is a party to this suit. An executive bailiff of the Supreme Court served INEC. The matter became so contentious. In fact, it was after Chief Edozie Njoku had suffered the humiliation and travesty of justice of being incarcerated in the notorious Suleja Correctional Center that Justice Mary Odili, now retired, who presided over that judgment, who made that correction, came out of retirement on her own volition to avoid the wrong man being punished, to write a letter stating that the chairman of APGA was Chief Edozie Njoku. And the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the present Chief Justice of Nigeria, currently directed the Chief Registrar of the Court to invite Chief Edozie Njoku to apply under Order 8 Rule 16 of the Supreme Court, which allows the Supreme Court to formally issue an order correcting its own mistake, not Edozie Njoku's mistake. And that has been done. So at this point in time, I think the press should, some sections of the press should do a little bit of investigative journalism, please.
No, fine and well, we are very aware of that. You've situated your side of the story, having the legal backing.
Yes.
What next with you and INEC now? Why is your name still not on INEC's list as presidential candidate?
Exactly what I am saying, that the INEC has no power to disobey the judgment of the court. And if the media, including Arise, really would like to make sure that this election is not wrong, because you know the grave implication of exclusion of a political party. And you know very well that with the Apex Court taking a position on this matter, any candidate whose nomination form is not signed by Chief Edozie Njoku and the National Secretary of the party is not a valid candidate.
Okay,
that is the truth. And I want it to be appreciated.
Two questions for you, because recently there's a report credited to you asking the governor of Anambra State, Soludo, to intervene in what you call the APGA crisis. Is that correct? Is that report credited to you? If it's correct, then you do admit that there's a crisis within your party, which is not the fault of the media or the fault of INEC. Secondly, I was going to ask you, it's 24 days to the polls opening. Why did it take this long for you to inaugurate the campaign council?
Let me start with the first one. I am the founder of this party. I founded it 21 years ago. And when I founded it, it became the very first political party ever founded by an Igbo man in the entire history of Nigerian political parties in this country, since 1922, 80 years after. So I have some passionate attachment to APGA. So when I came back to APGA, the crisis was already there. And Professor Soludo had been elected. We even had an interaction, one-on-one, in his residence at Enugu. Then I said to him, both publicly and privately, you have a very, very unique and historic role to play here. As the highest elected officer of the party, you are the de facto leader of the party. You can bring these two gentlemen together.
Which gentlemen, be specific?
Chief Edozie Njoku and Victor Oye, to resolve the crisis that had been there since 2019.
Which is now affecting your election.
I will come to the second leg of be affecting my election.
Great.
And I said to him, if other political parties have worse situations, they resolve it and tell the world it is a family affair. Why can't there be a family affair in APGA? But unfortunately, he decided to choose his own options. Now, we couldn't have come out earlier than now.
Was that the option? The option he chose, was that the option that brought him to power? I mean, through the primaries? Was it the Oye option or Edozie's option?
It was, see, Edozie was elected on the 31st of May 2019. That clearly tells you that he was already the elected chairman and the crisis was already on, and Professor Soludo went through the Oye faction to now become governor. Yes.
Okay.
To become governor. Now I'm coming. But as I told you, other parties have had worse situations. And they will resolve it. And this issue of who nominated the other will be resolved as a family affair. That was what I preferred. It was not taken. Now, I could have come out earlier. I was elected on the 3rd of June in a well-organized convention here in Abuja. I would have started then to campaign, but I like to follow things according to the rules. So I waited to ensure that the judgment that was served on INEC was clarified by the Supreme Court, and that clarification has come.
Okay, fantastic. And that clarification has restored you as the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Chief Chekwas Okorie.
Thank you so much.
Founder of APGA.
We wish you the best.
Congratulations to the running mate Adiza Mohammed as your vice presidential candidate.
Yes.